Okay, expensive.
Hello.
We back.
We're back and we lost
Basically-
one. She went to the toilet.
Okay, let's start on kibbutz with the kolbo.
Yeah.
Kolbo.
Okay. I think even before that, like coming on Shnat, like budgeting is like really important. I think a lot of people like didn't come onto Shnat with a budget, and then you get to Kaveret and you want to do kupa, or you want to like make sure that you have money to go home with, and then it becomes really difficult to like know how much money you have if you're not like keeping track of it all year. I think that like going on Shnat with a budget, like a monthly budget, even a weekly budget if like you want to, is important. You can like, the way that I tracked it was just like on my credit card, like just seeing when all my like withdrawals were and like adding it up and making sure that I wasn't going over my monthly thing, or if I was going over my monthly budget, then I would like make sure that I didn't spend like that much the next month. So I think that's like a really important point to make, is that you should be budgeting from the get-go, because it's going to just become more and more difficult to like make sure that you have money by the end.
I never budgeted for the first 6 months of Shnat, which was,
Wow.
in hindsight,
How did you do
bad
that?
idea. Don't do it, because I spent a lot more money than I was supposed to. It was, I think, like, even if you don't really know how much you want to spend, like, I don't know.
Ask your parents.
Yeah, ask your parents, or
Work it out.
limit yourself to like a certain amount, and then if you end up spending more, that's okay. But like, try like, give yourself a budget.
Yeah.
There you go.
The easiest thing to do is to work it out before Shnat. Have a sit down with your parents, work out how much money you want to spend for the whole year, and then divide that up to weeks or months, or like however you think would be easiest for you to keep track of.
What do you spend money
Are you asking me that?
Wait, also
Yeah,
something
okay.
to say is I think that you'll like find that you have a lot of conversations about that kind of stuff with your friends on Shnat, like, and like you'll, even if you don't feel that confident coming in, like you'll get better at it, and you'll see ways that other people are doing it, and you might switch. Like coming in, I also like didn't have a budgeting plan, but then my friend Ruby was like doing all this spreadsheet stuff, and it looked really cool, and then she showed me how she did it, and then I started doing it, and it was like super easy. And like I think it also helps with like just being a bit critical of your money. Like Shnat's a space where you get to think a lot about consumerism and like materialism and all these kinds of concepts, and like it's just a good way to like help be more critical about it and like understand the way money works a bit better.
Bottom line is budget. Make sure you have a budget, because otherwise you can just fuck yourself over.
In terms of what we spend our money on,
Start with kibbutz.
to start with kibbutz, so there's a little shop called the Kobo on kibbutz, and it basically sells a range of everything. So from food to socks, yeah, or goggles,
Sanitary products.
You've got the
sanitary
Everything, like,
products, anything you
Everything
really
you need is there.
That's why it's called Kolbot.
And that's
Everything.
Everything here.
So basically, a lot of people, what they bought in the summer was ice cream.
Please be careful with
dairy-free.
ice cream. No, I like bought an ice cream a day, which is like obviously not healthy anyways. But like when I looked at my my statement at the end of the month, I was like, what the fuck? Like it adds
They're
up
not
so
cheap.
quickly.
It really adds up. The
It's like-
easiest thing to do is to buy an icy pole from the Cheder Ochel and just keep that in the freezer for later.
Yeah.
Like an apple.
So you don't really have to pay for that.
Yeah.
Also, what else?
Invest in long-lasting snacks like pretzels that you don't really want to eat,
Yeah.
like an
If you-
entire bag
God,
at
no.
once.
Oh my god.
But a packet of Bisley, you're probably going to eat all of it at once. So.
If you have a dietary requirement, tell them at the beginning so they can set up an account for you at the Kobo so you don't have to spend your own money. Learn that the hard way. Do it before.
Okay, we're gonna move on. So should we talk
Maybe
about
talk
Kapar
about
quickly?
I'm gonna keep quiet.
Yeah.
Our Kvutza started Kopa when, Jesse?
We started one on kibbutz for shampoos, conditioners, and all
towards
that
the end.
stuff.
Clothes.
And
we-
clothes,
we-
but we didn't buy any
Ours
clothes
wasn't very
together.
good. We
No, I
started
mean,
Kopa
like,
in the
sharing clothes.
Oh
we
yeah,
started
sure.
Kopa in the bungalows, and we were in the bungalows in the second half of Yesod, and
Yeah.
so,
That was
like,
good. That
when
was a good one.
when they moved into the house, and in second half, like the second half of the year, second half of Yesod, when everyone starts to like want to start like doing more stuff, and so like they started doing clothes Kopa and toiletries and snacks. We just did. Like, we did snacks sometimes, but mostly just, like, shampoo and conditioner, which was, like, really nice.
Coffee.
And, yeah.
Milk.
Yeah.
And then now we've moved into the house. There's a proper kupa and general food.
And our kupa, Ours in Tapuskoton was quite small. We had like 12 people in it. Now we like ran a program about Kupa and like why it's important, and now we have like 17. So most of our futsal is on Kupa. It's really difficult. It's like a hard conversation to have. I don't think it's something that you necessarily need to rush into. I think it's something that like is better when you talk more about why you're doing it and like what you want out of it, rather than like, let's just do Kupa because that's what we do on Schnapp. Like, I think you should do it because you want to do it for relationships and for like helping people who don't have a lot of money.
And only if you can.
Yeah, and if you can. And I think that there's like some people who've gotten a lot more out of Kaveret. Like they wouldn't have been able to otherwise. And it's like a really special feeling.
Yeah. Co-op, we did a clothes Kupa on Yesod.
That was great.
Which was really good. We just had like, people could put in whatever clothes they wanted into like this like little cabinet. And I think like the main point that we got from that is like letting people know when you were using Kupa. Like if I took a t-shirt to wear for Avoda, I would like send a picture of it to the group and say I'm wearing this today. And then you're responsible for like putting that in the washing and then like getting it back, putting it back. And then we started a full Kupa on Kaveret, which has been really good. We have our whole futsal on Kupa. Yeah, full Kupa means that people should be or are putting in their like entire month's budget into Kupa. So if you have like 200 Australian dollars for the month, then you'll be putting like the equivalent of that into Kupa. And then you're basically using that as your bank account. It like works differently each year. I don't think that like saying how it works now is like that important.
Just like what it means.
Yeah, I think it's like it's really good for relationships, as Jaden said. It's brought people a lot closer, but it's also like a very difficult thing to be a part of, and feeling that you're like constantly a part of, I think is an important thing to like make sure that everybody is like constantly like engaged in being in Kupa.
I think that the main thing for me is that I never like thought about like obviously we critique capitalism and stuff, but Kupa's like really allowed me to truly like think about money, think about consumerism more. I think we're a lot more careful about what we buy. We don't want to buy a lot of plastic. We buy only like really only vegan food, and we only make vegan in our house. I just think it's like really allows you to think more about the impact you're having on other people and the world. And I just think like why I think like it's an opportunity to be more like woke about like society and consumerism. And I think like that it's really helped me in that regard.
Hey Jaden, where'd you get your shirt from?
Just ran downstairs and brought it from Kupa. Nice.
Something you want to say about Kupa, quickly? It's like it's a very daunting thing. Like I think you should just know that like there is like a bit of a pressure about I think surrounding it. Like people are like, oh, I have to join Kupa, and like if I don't, everyone's gonna judge me. Like I didn't join straight away. Like I wanted to like watch other people like deal with it before I had to deal with it a little bit. I think it's like a really good opportunity if it's something you want to do, but you don't have to push yourself. Something I wanted to mention was that like last night, like our futsal got in like a bit of a conversation about it, and like the conversations can get a bit heated because people are obviously going to disagree on what you should spend your money on and like what you shouldn't, and then it also invites people to say, no, I don't think you should spend your money on that, and like, no, I think you should wait to buy that because we don't have that much money now, and like that kind of stuff. And we have a VAD, which is like two people who are just like kind of in charge of Kupa and just make sure it runs smoothly and everyone puts in their money at the same time. And they just sent us this like pie chart. I don't know if you're able to see. Wait, let's just see. There, they just sent us this pie chart which like shows us like everything that like basically loosely what our money is spent on, and it's like really interesting like how many times in your life have you like looked at a pie chart of like the money that you've like spent on things during the month? Like,
not only you, like the collective, like that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like you are everyone, which is really cool.
Yeah, like I haven't smoked shisha once this month, but I've spent 4% of my money on it.
Wow.
And like there's just like random things. I don't have a film camera, but like some of my money went towards that stuff. So like I think
it's like
What's general?
it's an interesting feeling to have that, I guess.
Okay, we're on 10 minutes. That's
Did the social dynamic change from Sam to Schnat?
Yeah.
Wow, yes, it
Definitely.
did. Most definitely.
It's like so hard to base your relationships of people over the 10 days that you spend with them on Fed or however many days Sem is.
It also
like,
changes week
yeah.
to week.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
things are like so like fragile. Like the smallest things can like change your relationship a lot for the better or for the worse. Like that's just the way it is. Because we're like always so close to each other and like I know tensions can be really high. I think that like Sem is a good indicator of like where you start at the beginning of the year, like AZYC Sem, beginning of your sword. But like that like it just progresses so much and you become close to people and like I don't even know when it happens. Like you see like other Schnat years come back and everyone's really close and you're like, oh my god, I wish I had that with my sister. And then you're like, I don't have it. And at the end of the year I was like, when did that happen? Now I have that.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
I remember, like, I was talking to Gina, like, at some point on Kibbutz, and she was like, has everyone become, like, super close yet? And I was like, yeah, but, like, fully, like, didn't feel that way at all. I was like, felt like I knew, like, 5 people, and
also-
they're sitting, like, and, like, I think, like, you just, like, feel this one point on Schnat where you're like, yeah, like, I know my people.
It's like that point where like you know like what toothbrush people use and like you know
Yeah.
like who has showers in the morning, who has showers
Like
at night.
when the undies are left in the wash, and
Yeah.
you're like, whose undies are they? And you know.
Okay.
When you have a clothes auction and you're like, yeah, that's that person's t-shirt or that's
That's
the
so
cool
cool.
part.
That's
Like
so
I know
nice.
you know everything about
Yeah,
everyone.
and you know that you can't put, like, certain foods in, like, the dinner because this person won't be able to eat it.
Yeah, but
Or
fucking
whoever
hate
leaves their
clothes.
dishes out and doesn't wash them.
Yeah, you know.
So also going to the just giving those 10 grand, do you think that will be capable? Or does anyone know?
I
Answer?
don't know.
Maybe just in terms of the question about where you stand in the movement if you don't go on Schnat, because I get that that's like something that might be a bit scary. I don't really know how to answer that because like, yeah, like
We're on Schnat.
we're on Schnat, so like our place in the movement is kind of decided for us. But I think it's important to say that like you get to like find your own place in the movement, and like I think that like if being on Schnat necessarily like isn't for you for whatever reason, but like you're passionate about the movement, there's like space for conversations to be had, I think.
I do think you should like think about the like it is if you do like continue with the movement and like you don't go on Schnat, it's like still a really hard dynamic like with the people who have been on Schnat because they've been on such like an intense year and learned so much and like you change a lot. It's a huge personal development year, and so it's just hard to just like go back and like lead with people who've been on Schnat. But I think that in saying that, I don't think it's like you can just like negate that sort of like opportunity. I think it's something that should definitely happen, and conversations that like should definitely be had.
I think we're also lucky coming from Perth where the Bogan body is small and like I think that just makes it easier for people to like integrate in if they haven't been on Schnat. Obviously like it's still conversations, like nothing's set in stone for anyone, but I think Perth is a good place to be if you feel that like you just can't go on Schnat for whatever reason.
Should we talk about
The
Schnat?
next- Yeah, so it says, do you think that we will be a capable Shikvar to do well in Schnat and be good with Bogrim when we return? I think that definitely you guys are capable your level. I think you have like a lot of charisma and energy, and like really all that the movement needs is people who are passionate and like want to do things and have a lot of energy. I also think like no one knows like what's going to happen in the future, but going on Schnat allows you to be better Bogrim and have better Hajjaka skills and really like learn about what you care about, critique the movement, like what you want to change in the movement. I think it like makes you a better like citizen of the world in a way, like a better insight into things. And so like no matter how you feel about your Shikvar now, like I definitely see potential in you guys, but I definitely think it's not so relevant because you're gonna grow and you're gonna learn a lot and gonna come out of Schnat. That's like it's like the process of coming out to be a good bog. And I think it's like it's definitely worth it, especially for our community, which really like needs people to be like people like us to be there for the secular Jews. For I just think why not?
I also think you're like defined by your like year level when you get back. Like I don't think you can say like you'll be good Bogrim before Schnat. Like there's some year levels who like you think are going to be like incredible Bogrim get back, and then like a year later like nah, I don't want to be in the movement, or like that sort of vibe. I think that you should like try not to have an expectation of whether you're going to be a good program or not. Just like and just try and like think about this year, and then you'll be thinking a lot about the year after Schnat on Schnat. So I don't think you need to be thinking about that.
Also, though, it is like legit to have those concerns, and I know that I feel like it is something that's talked about a lot when we talk about Shavit. Just from like speaking to you guys about it, there is like stresses around like the dynamics of the group. Like I can say that I really didn't have much faith in Ra'am before I came on Schnat. Like I really thought that I would like not connect with 70% of the people, and like I just didn't expect for us to be like a functioning group of like humans. But I think that like you'll really like grow to like love everybody in whatever way that is, and like at the end of the day, the people that you're going on Schnat with are like good people. Like they're not, no one's like a bad person, and like no one has no potential to develop and grow within themselves, just like you will as well. So just like, I don't know, don't like overthink it.
Do you want to do this one?
Can I say one more thing quickly on that point? I also think like this year, us as a shikfa, we've like all branched out a lot, haven't necessarily spent that much time together. Like we've spent time with other people coming from Perth, like that's what you kind of want to do. But I think like we've got full faith that we're going to come back, and because we're passionate about it, we can make a difference. And I think like it's really is up to you. It like doesn't matter about perceptions or preconceived like notions of your group. If you want to do something in the movement, like you can do it.
It really is a moratorium. Like it's sometimes like you joke about it, joke about it. But I think that when you're here, you understand really what that means. And it's like you can create your own little society with your own expectations of gender and like expectations of like different states and like everything, and what you want in relationships. I think like you can create your own world, and like when people's families come over, or like friends from Australia, and you're interacting with them, you're like, wow, this is like, it's like your society just gets like it's like a bubble, and it gets like popped, and then you're like, oh wow, this is the real world. But it's like a really cool experience.
Yeah. Should we speak about Schnat? I think that like the role of Madrichim I like really downplayed before Schnat. I was like, I've had Madrichim my whole life. Like I know how to have Madrichim. I know like what it's like to have a relationship like that. I think that was just like so bad of me to think like that, because your relationship with your Schnat Madrichimot are like so different to any Madrichimot that you've had before. Like not only are like they very involved in your life, like your Madrichimot now are like involved in your life, but like nothing to the extent that your Schnat Madrichimot are going to be. Like if you need to go to the doctor, like you go through them and they come and they sit there. If you like want to see a psychologist, you go through them. If like that sort of thing. Like they're so involved and they know so much about you. They're running a like hell lot for you all the time. They're making like they check up on you constantly to make sure that you're okay. They like remember everything that you've ever told them, so that like if something comes up at a later date that like might, I don't know, have like a negative effect on you, they'll like check up on you. Like it's very, at the same time similar, but also like very different to any medical that you've had before. And also like you have a relationship with your madrichimot like from year 3 to year 12, and like you can choose to have that relationship with them still, and they can see you grow and whatever. But these madrichimot are going to see you grow as bogrimot when you return to the movement, which I think is like really cool. And I like implore you guys to make a relationship with your bogrimot and like open up to them and like rely on them as like people in your lives that you like care about, and that they care about you deeply as well.
Just to say, for more information, Jaden and I have Zach Freund as our mad, and Noah, she's from Israel and she's amazing, and Koach has Avi from New Zealand, and Tal, who's also from Israel.
But they all live in Israel.
Yeah, Noah and
Noah and Tal.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about?
No, I think number 2 is good. I think in terms of like mental health, it's something that is like definitely something that should not be a taboo on Schnat. It's something that should be like spoken about a lot, and it's like something that's really important and like affects everyone, even if like you don't really think it. And I think that Schnat is a really intense environment, and that can like worsen mental health, but like that is only if like it's only with some circumstances. I with a lot of people, your mental health can get worse, but you always have like a lot of support, and a lot of us have been to the psychologist, even not necessarily for like such horrible things, but or I don't know, it's sort of for like just to check up and like for support, and I don't know, someone else want to take over.
I think that the stigma around mental health is like really broken down, and it's like really okay to talk about how you're feeling in front of like 20 or 40 people, like really honestly. And you can go to the psychologist for whatever reason. You can tell all your friends. Like there's very much little to no stigma about mental health, which I think is really important. And it's like you can always find a support system in your madrugim or in your friends. There was some questions about like what extent does it go to where it's like really bad. We've had a few people leave Schnat for mental health issues. A lot of them were like pre-existing things that like
just intensified.
Yeah, like intensified or Schnat weren't dealt with properly before Schnat. But I think like it really is a supportive environment, and it's not like a major thing to worry about. And if anything, it's made me like a lot more aware of other people's emotions, my own emotions, and that can only be a positive thing.
I think one thing to note is like knowing the right people to speak to about things. Like if you feel that you're going through a really difficult time with your mental health, like maybe choosing to not rely on your friends as support, like letting them know that you're going through this hard time and letting them try to support you, but also seeking like professional help through your madrugim, and like because I just think that like sometimes people like take on the burden of other people's mental health on Schnat, and it can like really affect other people as well. So like making sure that you're like dealing with it in a way that's helping you, but also helping other people around you, so that they don't feel like everything's like being placed on them.
And also it's important to speak to different people. Like I think it's important to speak to your madrugim, and it's important to speak to like if you want family or friends back home, and like lots of different people in your shechva, guys, girls, and like I think it's just important that like you don't like limit your support to one person or two people, because like that can like take a toll on other people, and that's like not the best thing.
There's a question number one. Do you want to quickly listen to that? You don't have to. I'll just say whatever you want.
I think that
I like
in
number
terms
three.
of
I like number three.
Yeah.
Number three. Yeah, we talk about whatever. I think
Number three. So if you feel uncomfortable in a particular program or uncomfortable with what people are talking about, it is perfectly fine and okay to leave and go to your room, and then text someone to say to the madrich that they weren't feeling okay with the program or the content that was being said, and then have a talk and have a sikha with your madrich or your friend after, and make sure that you get things settled and make sure they understand what you are uncomfortable about, so they can know for the next time and warn you the next time if something like that comes up. And I think that is very, very important during this whole year.
The importance of the distinction between being uncomfortable and unsafe also comes up a lot in Schnat. I think that like if you're feeling uncomfortable, but to an extent that you feel that you can push yourself to like stay in the program and be educated about those things, is also really important, because everything that your madrugim are bringing to you, they think is important for you to know. For like educators, to be educators when you get back, and also just like as people in the world. But of course, like yeah, like there was on Yesod, some people that are vegans ran a pill out about like all the different things that like why you should be vegan, basically. There was like a lot of like graphic things that made people feel uncomfortable, like graphic videos of like animal abuse and stuff, which like made people feel very uncomfortable. But because it's like such an important topic, people stayed because like it's like important, and they were uncomfortable, but it was important, so they stayed.
Yeah, you have to push yourself.
Yeah, like pushing yourself is really important, but also some people left because they were just like, I can't watch that. It makes me feel like really terrible. and that's also okay. And people like respect that, and they, like as the year goes on, people like learn to respect it more and more for people to like just leave Pearl because they're uncomfortable.
I think in terms of like what you guys should be talking about and doing now, I think it's really important that you do talk a lot about Schnat, but also try not to build up expectations, because like a lot of us went on Schnat thinking that Schnat's going to be this like certain thing, and then when it's not, you sort of get disappointed. But I think that the less expectations you have, or I think you should like pick certain expectations. Like don't expect that, you know, every year does a slip and slide, or like, you know, every year is going to have this certain dynamic, because then, you know, when it doesn't happen or it does happen or something, that like you can like react badly to it. I think that it's good to expect that the year is, you know, going to be difficult, but it's like the most rewarding year you're ever going to have. And I think that it sounds cheesy, but like the year is whatever you want it to be. The classic is like, it's your Schnat year. Like you can do what you want. And
Not whatever you want.
Not whatever you want.
Within
you can,
reason.
Within the
within-
contract that is set.
Within the rules.
You know, you can, yeah. Do you want
Yeah, definitely.
I've got one thing. I think that when you're thinking about like why should I go on Schnat, for me the biggest thing is like anytime I can go partying, I can travel Europe, I can do all these different things, but like never again can the things that I experience and learn on Schnat, like I can never do that again. It seriously is like the biggest once in a lifetime opportunity. And I like the amount, like you've heard people say before, but it's like the hardest and the best year. And it's like, that's so true. And people are like, why would I go in a year that's the hardest year of my life? But it's like hard in an amazing way. And
preparation for life?
yeah, it's like,
No
it's
kidding.
like harder it really does make you like grow as a person. And I think that, think about if this is an opportunity that you can have again, and if it's like an opportunity that you think is worth for you and for your future, like in our community and in the movement.
Also, just like on that though, I like that's like I completely agree. So I don't know why I started so much. Something that like I didn't hear that much of, but like I heard a lot on Schnat was that like Schnat's also like just another year of your life, and while that does sound a bit weird and like it sounds like, oh well then like what's the point? But it's like you don't have to, like, you don't go into like a year of your life thinking, oh my god, is it going to be a good year? Like, am I going to do this, this, and this? Like, do I have to do all these amazing things? Like, it's like a year of your life, and like you're going to look back on it like you look back on most years, and like it'll be like full of amazing things. But like, I don't know, like you don't have to think so much about it, because like you're just like living. You also like, it sounds like Schnat, but you're also just like living your life. It's like really weird to explain.
Like,
but like
you still get
you're
sick,
doing
you
structured
still-
things, but like you're still existing. Like, it's really strange.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it.
Also,
You have
remember,
bad days, you have good days.
life continues on in wherever you're from. So in Perth, your family's still going on, and things are still happening. You got to remember, nothing pauses.
I think also, like, remember to rely on people at home as well. Like, it's really easy to be, like, stuck in your bubble and not know what's going on in the Perth movement or with your family or with the school. I think, like, also staying in touch with people in other movements that are on Shine as well is really cool. People are on IBC and on B'nai Shnat and whatever. You're going to make, like, lots of friends from other movements. I think that's really important. Make friends with the people from, like, Shnat in other countries, like the South Americans, the South Africans, the North Americans, like whoever you get like an opportunity to be with, like be with them.
South are great for the Perthies.
Yeah,
It's like
it's like really amazing to get to know all these people. But also like you have 5 people here that want to talk about Shnat because we want to relive it through you.
Of course.
Yeah, like really like
Seriously.
rely on us and like ask us questions if you have questions about like whatever like. We've done it. People in the Perth movement have also done it. Like, there's lots of people for you to speak to. You don't have to go through this alone and blind. Like,
Yeah, and we promise to be like really honest about things as well.
Don't be afraid. Ask us anything and everything whenever you want.
Missing
Yes.
you.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see you.
yeah.
Call you soon. Bye.
Bye bye. See you guys.